Hey everyone, Eggman here with another video, and today we're talking about the sixth and final leader for the fourth set of the One Piece card game, Kingdoms of Intrigue, where this is the one I was honestly least excited for, and that seems to be the case after some testing that I've been doing for it. So I think this is a leader that does have a lot of variety in cards and a lot of ways to build it, but nothing really clicked from my own testing. But I did want to make a video just kind of going over the leader in general, have the best deck list that I was able to make, and then also just come in, some additional ideas for people who wants to, tinker with it and try to build their own decks as well. So also I've been testing this and every other leader from OP04, the 6 leaders from OP04 on my live stream on Twitch, which you guys can go and check out here. I did highlight all 6 of the streams that I did in the last couple weeks for that too. So if you guys are subscribed to me on Twitch, you can watch those there. Some okay content. I mean, I'm kind of okay at the game. Sometimes I'm not, but it's there for you guys if you guys want to check out some of the gameplay as well. So that is there, and we're going to jump on into discussion for this leader in general. And so what does Vivi do? It is a 5k leader with 5 life and also red and blue. So kind of like Rebecca in the sense that this leader can't attack, which kind of makes it so it makes it fair for having 5 life while also having dual colors. And I would say where Rebecca is like a little above average for the effect, I think Vivi's a little bit below average for it. It has an activate main. Once per turn for 2, draw 1 card and up to one of your characters gains rush during the turn. So it's not a terrible an effect, and just being able to draw a card for 2 is somewhat reasonable in this game, to be honest. But I also will say that there are a lot of times where I'd always want to do like the draw first, and I just the sequencing felt kind of weird. So if I was to remake this leader, I'd have 2 activate mains. One was just for 1 to draw a card, and the other one is just to give something rush. Because sometimes I draw a card, and like the card I draw, I want to, or I'd want to see what I drew before I played something and committed to it. So it's just kind of weird how the timing goes for it sometimes, and it felt a little clunky in general. So that's the idea for it. But again, like red and blue both have some really good card pools. So again, as we were saying, a lot to kind of experiment with. But Vivi did get its own kind of Alabasta Kingdom card pool, which there are some cards released before the set that do have the Alabaster tag. I don't think they're very good cards, but they do kind of exist. So some staples to go through. We do have Ingram, which is a searcher. You may rest this character, give your 1 active leader minus 5k power during this turn. So and then also look at top 5 from the top of your deck, get an Alabasta card and add to your hand and place the rest of the bottom of your deck in any order. So it essentially means you can give up your attack for the turn to use this effect, or you could just be Vivi, and you already gave up your attack for it. So kind of nice for that ability there. It is a search. It's also a search that you could potentially do more than once if you need to, which is kind of nice. I will say, like, I mean, you can play it for 2 and then you get the card draw. More times than not, if I had 2 open, I'd probably just use Vivi's effect, especially since, like, unless you're really searching for a 2k, that's usually not worth it in that way, but there it is. We also have a couple 2ks, so there is kind of a build for the ducks if you guys want it, like an animal build. It's really interesting. I haven't really tested because it honestly looks a little bit undertuned, but if you want that, it's there for you. This is a 2k, has a 1 attack, and you may give your active leader minus 5k power for the turn. The end of the turn, you can return this to its owner's hand. So you could play it for 2. I wish the when attacking also gave you like a plus 2k boost. So like for 4, you could have a 5k swing and draw a card, and then like get the 2k back in your hand. But the fact that you'd have to pay 2 for this, 2 to give it rush, and then 2 to put like that's 6 Dawn for a 5k attack, and then like a draw 1, which doesn't seem really good, huh? So that's a little bit rough for it. Sometimes, I mean, if you want to use it for like a quick removal of like another 3, I don't know, it's just expensive for what it is. We also have Koza. When attacking, you may give one of your active leaders minus 5k for the turn. This character gains plus 2k until the start of your next turn. So this one's a little bit more tempting, being able to use it to, you could play this on turn 3, and then you could give it the 2 Dawn, and then, or you could just use this effect when attacking and give it a 5k, and then it's a 5k until the end of your opponent's turn. This is okay. I haven't tested this one as much, but it is searchable and is a 2k, so there we go there. And then kind of like the better cards for this, we have Chaka, which you're able to use this when attacking if you're Vivi. I really wish this wasn't restricted to Vivi, but I think a lot of other people did as well. So Dawn times 1 when attacking. If your leader is Vivi, give up to one of your opponent's characters minus 3k power during this turn. Then KO up to one of your opponent's leader or characters with 0 power or less. So it's really good at trading. You can use it to get rid of something like a 3k or less immediately, or you can use it to pressure down something bigger. And so for 6 Dawn, you can play this and attack with it the same turn, and it's technically a 6k. But if you get give it the plus 3k, it's technically a 9k, so that's pretty good investment for something with rush that you just played from your hand. Obviously very removable, but it's usually found either you play it early and you don't attack with it immediately and you just kind of wait for something to attack with it, or something. This is like the best card I think in the entire deck, and it's the only like true staple I feel like in this one. We also have Pell, which is pretty okay. He's a little expensive at a 5 cost. It has Dawn times 1 when attacking, KO up to one of your opponent's characters with 4k power or less. So it is a little bit lower. You could compare it to Marco, where you play it, you get the pop for immediately, and then it's just hard to remove that card in general. So I think that's kind of okay. Pell obviously is used to like combo with Jaka, so you can use this to get rid of a 7k between the two of them, which is quite nice, and then kind of pressure opponent with a 6k swing and a 7k swing. It's cute, but I'm not sure if it's good enough to be really competitive. So that is kind of like the combo though for this set in general. We also have the Zoro, which is a 5-drop 6k. Give up to one of your opponent's characters minus 2k power. This also is a Straw Hats pirate, so it's just a flexible Straw Hat crew card, which, I mean, we didn't need more of them, but we got more of them anyways. You could obviously additionally pair this with Pell. So you play this last turn, you use Zoro to give it something minus 2k, and then you can attack with Pell 6k pop on attack, which is nice. So, and then we have like the top end for this one. It is a Straw Hats Pirates, and it's also an Alabasta Kingdom. It's just okay. It's a big old Luffy. It's an 8-drop 9k that has Banish. No counter. Nothing else going really for it. You can make it a 10k technically if you had like could put a Dawn underneath it and give it rush for the turn. So you could have a 10k Banish with setup, but 10k Banish rush with a lot of setup and running Vivi. But I honestly don't think that's worth it. And I think so many decks are running blockers, a way to kind of interact it, that this might have been like a good like set 1 combo, but we're a bit removed from that one. So I'm not really impressed with this guy. I think there's a lot better you can do in the same slot. And then we also do have just the secret rare. So this is really cool, a really cool idea to build a deck around. I don't think it's worth it in any sense of the name, but it's a 7-drop. It has Vivi. All your characters with a cost of 3 or more other than this character gain rush. So the idea is you can play it on 10 Dawn, you can play it and play something else and give that rush, which is neat. And then afterwards, anything you play gets rush. So for example, I mean, if you play Vivi for free and then you next turn you play Luffy and it gets like the Dawn and everything, it's tempting. I still don't think it's good. I think it's very easily removed, especially with all like the removal we have right now, this like red rock and everything. It's just very easily answered. So I could be wrong. I didn't really try it because of that. So if you guys are bolder to try it, let me know. It does have a counter, which is nice. And it's 4k, I will say, is way bigger than 3k for like removal. And it is a big cost, but like stuff like I think Red Rock, which is running rampant. I think like 8-drop Katakuri would love to bounce this back into your life and get all that tempo for you. And you can easily get like Mihawk, bounce it back, and just a bunch of other things for it. So I think it's just too fragile for what it is. It is like definitely something to build around, but there it is. And then we have 3 events from this set. We do have Table Manor Kick Course, which I don't know if that's the real name for it, but this is a pretty solid card for red. Pretty much everything has like these 0 cost event counters. So being able to discard a card to give something plus 3k for the turn, and just being able to have the trigger of your opponent's leader or one of their characters lose minus 3k power for the duration of the turn. So kind of like activating it for free out of our life is really great. Being able to be a Straw Hats pirate as well, which is absurd how searchable those cards are, but there we go. We also have Happiness Punch, which is generically just a better guard point for only Vivi, outside of it not having a trigger, but you can do some cool things. If you like, you can combo this with like Red Hawk if you want to and get some additional like card pop, and also there are some more cards that exist right now that swing more than once in a turn, so being able to give that is pretty solid. So there we go there. And then lastly, we do have the Enchanting Vertigo Dance. If your leader has Alabasta type, give it to 2 of your opponent's characters minus 2k power. during this turn, so this can work really well with either Chaka or Pell to get things into range that your opponent wasn't expecting to be, and get some easier removals, especially since like we're going to have like a bunch of like 1-drop and 2-drop searchers in this deck. Being able to play this card to get things into range to attack over them, I think is fine too. So I haven't tested with this one as much, but it has some potential. So those are all like the new cards I want to talk about, and we can jump on over to the deck profile. So I'm going to be honest with you, this is just worse Newgate in a lot of ways, but there are some kind of redeeming features for it. We'll talk about it later. There are just like a bunch of additional cards I want to talk about that can have some good package in Vivi and just like some cool little benefits and stuff. But specifically with this build, what I notice is that like if you get a big old like Kingdu or Thatch or Marco, these cards are really strong. These are fantastic in the sense that you can play them, and your opponent's going to have a somewhat difficult time removing them, and that's the best thing about it. And so just the fact that you play these cards and they eventually become your leader is great. The fact that, you know, you can have Thatch, you can use, you know, for 6, play it, and then for 2 more, it's an 8k with Rush that can trade into other things moderately easily, and then your opponent's going to have to spend some time to get rid of it. I think this is probably the best build that this deck has for it. One of the best builds, but again, I do think it's just all these cards work way better in Newgate. So there is also Marco, which Marco is really good. I don't know if you know this. This is a really strong card in a lot of decks, but it also is just a little another caveat for it. So the on KO effect is you may trash 1 event card with who cares what color it is. So we can play these blue event cards, which are also Straw Hats too, so this Nami can find them. So like in Gum Gum Red Rock, which is like the boogeyman for this kind of one of the best cards in the set, this card is also a Straw Hat. So being able to use these cards and find them from Nami and get that, like all these cards, all the event cards can be found by Nami, which is a little absurd. So I think that is something that you could potentially build around and have some success with this deck. I have thought about having like more of an event-based deck with it, but the fact that you can play Marco early and then like you just never have to worry about it being like super punished outside of like getting, again, 3000 World or Gum Gum Red Rock yourself. But it is obviously easier to remove in this set than others, but it's a very solid card to play in Curve still. So, and you can obviously use Chaka, attack with it, give something minus 3k, and then play Marco, and you get the effect there too. So that's pretty much it. Kingdu's great, Frankie's great, Thatch is great, and being able to use these cards to kind of mitigate the fact that our leader is kind of rough is kind of gets us there. So and obviously like this is just the fact that like we're assuming that Rad Beam's at 1. I'd run more if I thought. I'm pretty sure it's going to stay at 1, but we'll see if that happens or not. So what else? Oh, and then also, these are just the kind of the cards and packages I've been thinking about, and just some. There are like some cards, if you read them and say, oh, I can play this and attack with it the same turn, that's pretty good. That includes like the Luffy, which you can use this Luffy on play when attacking. You may trash 2 cards from your hand to return up to 1 of your opponents for a lower cost to their hand, and then you get to gain double attack. So double attack rush that gets rid of a blocker on swing is kind of good. You can play it off Emporio. You can use Emporio's effect to draw cards, are up to 3, or you can like discard, and then you can play Emporio, go into Luffy, still have 2 Dawn open to use the Luffy effect to go in as a 7k double attack. All that seems kind of okay, maybe kind of clunky, especially since all these cards don't have any counter with it, and that's kind of rough for it, but there it is. I also did kind of have like a little bit of success with like an Animal Kingdoms Pirate, since we do have this Who's Who, which is a searchable card, searches for your pieces in the deck, and when, there is a 5/7, there's a 5/7 all in what, Impel Down. There isn't a 6/8, which kind of stinks, but there's that. Alti is kind of like another version of Chaka. Obviously, we didn't talk about it, but 3-drop Nico Robin is great too. The 10-drop Kaido does do some stuff, especially since you will play like a bunch of 1-drops early game, and so being able to bounce them back to your hand for either using their effect again or get some more counter power, I think is great. And your opponents, outside of like Red Rock, this card is really hard to remove. So the amount of tempo you get from this guy is usually good. The fact that you can't combo him with your leader effect kind of stinks, but I think he's worth it because he does buy you a lot of momentum back, which is really, really nice. So, and then also like 1-drop Nami, I think is good. We also could have the Haruta, which is a Newgate Pirates that also does the same thing of being able to put Rested Dawn on stuff. When you have a leader effect that pays for cost with Dawn, it just means that you can immediately use that Dawn again, which is really nice. and just kind of everything else. So these are just some ideas. I've tried a lot of these. Nothing really stuck. Oh, also like Centomaro, I didn't get the Pacifista, but this is like tempting, right? You get to play a dude from your deck every turn, and you can give it rush if you want to. That's kind of nice, but I don't know if it's good enough to really be consistent about it either, especially since I think Centomaro can be really easily removed. So that is kind of just some cards and some deck ideas for it. Again, I think there is a bunch that you could potentially do with Vivi. I just don't know how good any of it is, and I usually don't like playing deck lists that I'm not really comfortable with myself, and this is barely comfortable with as well. So anyways, that is going to be it for me. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know which of these 6 leaders that we've gone over the last couple weeks is your favorite, who you're excited for in the next couple weeks of the release of OP04, and I'll catch you all next time.